a wild and unspoilt beach on the South China Sea. New holiday resorts are springing up all along Vietnam's coastline as the communist government turns to tourism for much-needed revenue. This resort, though, is being constructed not by a die-hard party loyalist, but by a woman who spent most of her life abroad. Anoa Paran left with her parents at the age of 4 and grew up in France. She only returned in the 1990s as the communist authorities opened Vietnam to the outside world. Anoa proved that 10 years ago when she piloted a helicopter from France to Vietnam without official permission. On arrival, she was predictably arrested. Even today, as she tries to build a new business here, she and other Viet Q, as the returnees are called, find it hard to dispel the party's suspicion of them.
I would like with the government, they consider that we are also the Vietnamese part of the nation. And if we contribute because of the nation that we do it, and we have to appreciate much more and much respect our patriotism.
But the only patriotism accepted by the party is that of yesterday's heroes. Here at the mausoleum of Ho Chi Minh, the rituals of communist loyalty are still rigidly observed. People are bussed from all over the country to pay hushed tribute to the waxen corpse lying inside. The dream of Ho Chi Minh and this country's founding fathers was to turn Vietnam into a socialist, egalitarian society. But the new religion here now is money, and to make enough of it, the communist authorities are having to attract back those who fled into exile more than 20 years ago. More than 1 million so-called boat people left in the 1970s and 80s, fleeing poverty and political persecution. Many languished for years in refugee camps. Over the last decade, though, as conditions eased in Vietnam, they've started coming back. But they worry the guardians of official orthodoxy. So the party set up a special committee to regulate the activities of the Viet Q.
There are some people who are not happy about the wealthy overseas Vietnamese coming back. That's because the overseas Vietnamese don't always know how to behave properly here.
Controlling behavior, though, is no longer easy, especially here in booming Saigon, the old capital of South Vietnam, where everyone wants to get rich. It now has temples of consumer culture in what's still officially a communist country. And it's here that most Viet Q choose to return. Theirs are stories of riches to rags and back to riches again. Nguyen Ngọc My was imprisoned in a re-education camp because of his work for the South Vietnam Navy. He fled with his family to Australia. Now he and his sons are back, cashing in on the building boom here. He refuses to let his past hold him back.
I always tell them what I was. Then I think that the government try to accept and try to ask the Viet Kieu helping in the redevelop the country. Because the background, I think that everybody want to put it.
The past is slowly fading in Vietnam. It survives still among the old veterans of the epic war against the Americans, like Tong Viet Song. He's 80 now. The sea of medals on his chest, his only reward for all the hardships. Can he accept those who abandoned Vietnam as his neighbors?
For me, it's fine to have the Viet Q back in this country. They should just avoid behaving arrogantly. They should try to help people who are poorer than themselves and not show off with expensive cars or clothes.
It's a far cry from the strident socialist vision these men fought so long for. In many ways, it's they, and not the politically suspect but business-savvy returnees, who now seem out of place in this country. Jonathan Head, BBC News, Vietnam.